Hello, my hello, my beautiful stars. Hello, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire. Today we are doing a reading to get a good update on your magic. Where is Spirit asking your magic to manifest? What is your unique magic being visiting you today? When is it going to be manifesting? What will be suppressing it? What will make it flourish? What will weaken it? And who are you when that magic is afoot? Now, the only thing you have to do today is choose a signifier. You can choose, this is from my Reiki Oracle deck, because I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. So you can choose initiation and attunement, emotion and protection, or prayer, like a group prayer type of card. Today I'm not going to get so much into the specifics of the meaning of each card, so I just ask you to choose based on a visceral sensation of what you might want to get out of your reading based on what you visually see. And then we will get into it. Group 1 will be from the left, group 2 will be the middle, and group 3 will be on the right. Let's get started. Today I call in Source, Allah, Hashem, the highest source energy, the universe, however you connect to one source energy, we call that in today. We call it angels, we call in angels, archangels, totem animals, spirit animals, guides, and any high purpose messages today. We also place a crystalline dome over the reading such that sacred energy stays in, lower vibrational energy stays out, and we will start with group 1. All right, group 1, we're going to be pulling 6 of these large round cards. So my thought is we will push all of our little cute trinkets out of the frame, but just know the incense is there doing its job. Perfect. And we will pull 6 cards right now. We'll also place her to the side. We'll see if we find some room for her. But, I only have so much real estate when I'm filming in my frame. So, firstly, group 1, what is your unique gift? Okay, I see it. Hello? Oh, she's hiding. She's running away from me. Your unique gift will be there. When does your unique gift manifest? Okay, I think this was here. When does it get suppressed? That. What makes it flourish? What weakens it? And who are you when your magic is with you? Feel that card right here? It's this one, hey? All right, 6 cards that fit in the frame. Doing the best we can, guys. Here, this one, this one. Okay. I think this is about... This will be good. So excited. I love flipping the cards. There's this beautiful liminal awe that suspends over the reading before you flip. And I love that feeling of anticipation and excitement. That's such a good energy for manifesting. So I'm sending that energy your way. So your unique magic lies in the castle, in decadence and allure. Okay? Your magic rests in a place as well. It's not just in the self. There's an external area by which your magic can really come out, embodied by this place. I'm sensing an aura of regality that you carry. You got the BBL aura. You turn heads. You turn heads and carry an energy about you that feels arcane. It feels royal. It feels like you could be wearing a potato sack, but people still know, real recognize real. You know what I mean? The magic is in your aura. Your energy is your currency. I'm seeing a lot of that in the gift side. You might be one who adorns yourself with beautiful things. I'm getting a lot of like Libra, Taurus, Tauresian energy here. Those who love decadence and also emulate it well themselves, carry themselves well. You carry yourself well. You are emotionally intelligent. You are socially aware. And you know how to work a room. That's what I'm seeing here with the castle. When does this energy manifest? Okay, it manifests on the threshold. The threshold is a place. So this energy really comes online when you are sort of suspended between ordinary and non-ordinary reality. It's like you're almost like shape-shifting. Like when you visualize the place where that energy is coming from, like you could be in the gutter, you could be in the back alleyway, but it's like when you tap into that threshold energy, that higher vertical energy, like you are, it's like it's giving glamour magic. You could fool everybody if you had to, you know? But the threshold is also like this energy really comes out when you go through big inner transformation, right? When you're going from one phase of being to the next. It's this also liminal place, this sort of, as we said even before we started the reading, where we just felt that sort of suspension of awe before we started, like it manifests in that energy. And because you have this sort of vortex of that energy with you, you sort of create this threshold for other people where they're kind of holding their breath around you, like, girl, who are you? You're watching this? I gotta know who you are. I'm curious about you. Okay, but when does this beautiful energy and magic get suppressed? In the desert. Yeah, this is, again, another place. We have 3 places in a row. This would be where, I don't know, the vibes are very spiritually dry. You know what I mean? Like it's not very fertile grounds for you to be your true self, where you might have to like shapeshift or like be in survival, or when you're in a survival based mindset. It's like where there's an environment where there's this sort of restriction, lack of resources, feeling like you need to save for a rainy day because there hasn't been a rainy day in a while. Okay, that's my general impression. We can also go back and dive in more deeply to each, okay? What makes your gift flourish? The animal. Girl, I have never in my whole life pulled this card. Ever. Now, is that a tool? It might be a tool. Unless it is a self. Might be a self. Okay, I gotta pull up my book. Guys. I swear, it's like I've never even seen this card before. Oh, certainly, it's a card for somebody. Okay, the animal is... I'll my book out here, guys. The animal... No, it is a self. Page 99. I guess that... This is giving, like, women who run with the wolves. Like, when you're in touch with your inner totem animals... Yeah, the beast, the wild one, and the she-wolf. I told you, the she-wolf, okay? We are mammals. The hair on our chest and between our legs reminds us so. We try hard to deny our unrefined, animalistic nature, yet through this archetype we tap into power and direction. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense, drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin, If this all sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. Okay. When light, vital, elemental, alive, and dances. When dark, savagery, pent up, emotion, and lashing out. Okay, but what makes it flourish is when you go out to nature, when you put yourself into environments that refill your sort of primordial cup. All women have or those two spirit adjacent people, those who tap into the divine feminine. The divine feminine carries this energy that is wild like the wolf and can be compared as such. So to go from like the desert to the animal, obviously we're seeing there are animals that live in the desert, but you wouldn't find a wolf in the desert. You would find it in a more temperate environment. And it's asking you to tap back into nature, to feel wild and to be uninhibited. We sort of perverted inhibition through like bar culture and drinking and alcohol, when like you can access the healthy form of inhibition just by letting your hair down under like the full moon, you know? So it's saying that like find a new container for your inhibitions to be released through ecstatic dance, through singing, through authentic expression creatively. You're in touch with that part of yourself and the part of you that can bare your teeth. Because the allure doesn't come from like this castle like energy we're talking about, this regal energy. It doesn't come from being pleasant and polite and contained and refined. This is sort of depth. Although you might, perceive or consider royalty to be refined, many of them have a shadow that is extremely unrefined. If you think about like the Norwegian royal family recently, for example, much of royalty they basically suppressed their refined, they suppressed this sort of animalistic nature because society expects them to be well behaved and well proportioned and deport themselves in such a way that is befitting for a country to be ruled. But they're still just people, right? So you have this energy, you know what I mean? Like you might be somebody who really has it all. But if you don't want all that, you don't want it to come out sideways or to get trapped in the walls of it, you have to find safe containers whereby the animal can come out and express itself. Okay, so that's what makes it flourish. This is another card we asked, what will weaken your gifts? What will weaken it? The orphan. Yeah, now this is a collective lesson many people are learning right now, but it's about like being too individuated and divorced from the collective. Think about being in a city where there's millions of people, but nobody talks to each other, being closer than ever, but never further apart. This can also indicate any traumas you might have gone through as a child where you felt other, you felt different, you felt like you couldn't connect to other people. It doesn't necessarily indicate that you were literally orphaned from your family, but there's like being orphaned from society, feeling like you're just following the motions but not really connecting in any deep meaningful way, feeling like the Truman Show, uncanny valley, wondering if anybody around you perceives the world the way that you do, goes to the same kind of depths the way that you do naturally. And the answer is it's not likely many people around you were doing that at such a young age. And that creates its own kind of wound that can definitely weaken this energy, this magnificent aura, if you are not integrating it, if you're not living in like like I said, like an integrated way with this energy. It's definitely a shadow type card. It will weaken what you have if you aren't tending to it. And this is a wound you will tend to your whole life. It's giving kind of like a Chiron energy, especially because our environments are very much reinforcing the orphan and creating highly individuated neurotic, cultures, or you can find that very easily. We see that alongside an empire in the West that is falling dramatically. So it's obviously not sustainable. It is something that is crumbling, but we have to doula ourselves through that energy and make space for what has happened, but take accountability. And how can we alchemize the orphan into something that can stand in regality with this castle energy, like we said? Because if we think about like an orphan being stuck in a castle, trapped in the dungeon or something, we don't want her in the dungeon. We want a window open somewhere. She needs to be able to roam around in the front yard. You know what I mean? You can't just suppress her, even if she's not the most beautiful part of you. She is a part of you. And when integrated, adds more depth and allure to you, right? So the shadow side of this definitely weakens it, but the gift side of her and accepting her as a part of your energy and a part of your lessons on this earth can actually help do the opposite. So who are you when this magic is like fully online and fully integrated? You are, oh, I love it. You are the shadow. It's giving the girl who lights up the room, but when she lights up a room, she casts a really big what? Shadow. The kind of energy that makes people have to wear their sunglasses around because it's too bright. Your depths scare people and remind people of what they haven't worked on in themselves. That's usually how it goes. Like the more metacognition you have, the more beauty and allure and depth that you have, it triggers so many cascade of issues in people who haven't had the time or wherewithal to have the same level of metacognition with themselves. Like if they don't have the same kind of depth, they don't even know why they feel the way that they feel. They don't know that the shadows that are being cast are their own. They might just see you as somebody who casts them. Or, and I'm sort of getting a vibe. It's giving like in high school, were you like the Cheeto girl with like really beautiful nails, dark hair, dark makeup, but like always stood up for everybody? Well, if you're also regal, I'm seeing sort of like a chic Bratz girl, Cheeto girl vibes. But yeah, you are the shadow in the night. You're the femme noire, the femme fatale, Lady Death, the woman at the end of time. That's who you are when this energy is fully online. And what do you think that purpose serves? Why do you think you're that way? Why do you think women are that way? I'm going to let you think on that. Mother Nature's not always sunshine and rainbows. She's cavernous, she's fault lines, she's caves, she's tectonic shifts. She is the desert. She's also the ocean. You know, we have been created, especially if you're a woman, we've been created in the image of the earth. And we carry within us a relationship to all the other organisms around us. But it takes a very, it's a very specific flavor to be the castle, but then to also be like the orphan. I also think about like the Addams family. You know what I mean? It's giving like Capricorn energy. It's giving, feeling a little bit of like Gemini and Lilith as well, if that resonates. You can also look to check in your chart where your Lilith is. Which house is your Lilith in? That's like the wild, divine part of you that cannot be contained, and it also scares people. My Lilith is obviously in the 10th house, and that's about like career and legacy. And my Saturn is also in the 8th house. So somebody who, and my Scorpio, and I have a stellium of planets in the 4th. So those things together make me somebody with a lot of depth, and I'm okay talking about taboo topics. And my Lilith being in the 10th house means it cannot be contained. Like you cannot tell my Lilith what to do when it comes to work. She kind of runs the show, but when she gets to steer it, then the work I do is not only impactful, but certain people will find what I do scary and intimidating. And I never really think of myself as like an intimidating person. I'm like, I'm the opposite of that. I'm so whimsical and la-di-da that like, I move so lightly that it's like a paradox, but yeah, we have this depth to us. And we have to when we are people who create life, and we, in a healthy matriarchal society, have to hold up the minutia of many different energies. We have to be both light and dark and be able to contain and reflect those things. It seems that you are really good at that. I thought maybe we should just reflect on the desert, because this was something that makes this energy inside of you get suppressed. It feels pretty self-explanatory, but let's see. Sorry about that. I was just interrupted. The desert is the drought, the wasteland, and the badlands. When dark, drying, deadening, disorienting, and isolating. When light is surreal, strange, unexpected visions, and silence. Okay, so the desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we're confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We're thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright and its darks terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truth resides in the desert that otherwise remains hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes' calls surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. So if we were to see this as the desert suppressing what you have to offer as a gift, as a magic, I do feel that the castle is obviously in such direct opposition to the desert, because the castle is about decadence, pleasantries, privilege, protection. The desert is about weathering a storm, survival, the threshold, literally like the threshold to death. And if your magic thrives when you have, routines and access to food, water, shelter, but beyond that you live a beautiful decadent life, and that's also what fuels the magic that gives to the world. I'm seeing the desert as any places whereby you don't feel honored when you enter a room, you don't feel revered, you sense that you are not being appreciated. That is quick to dry a woman up, I'll tell you that. So it's important to make sure that you are finding the oasis, because when you have this kind of allure in magic, and you're the kind of person that not only has a decadent life, but you attract more luck and decadence and manifest things really well, that is a process that happens strictly through alignment and not force. The desert is somewhat forceful and unforgiving, and it's just not something that seems to really resonate with your gifts. Although there are some cool shamanistic connections with the desert, it's important that you have an oasis nearby if you ever are to visit there and gather the treasures that could be there. More than anything, it's telling me that you should be wary of desert-like situations or people that suck you dry. Because you seem to be somebody, when you have a lot of depth, it means you gain and lose energy very quickly. So you have to know where to replenish yourself, and you replenish yourself through emulating the wild nature. Very cool. All right, thank you so much, Group 1. All right, Group 2, let's get started. We have the Sahiki symbol from Reiki, denoting emotion and also protection. You can see it's like a shield. So you can visualize this symbol if you want to have protection when you're in a big space, if you don't want to absorb other people's energy, if you want some type of powerful visualization to not take on too much of that which is not yours. It's a good energetic symbol to have up. Now, we'll just put it to the side because there's not so much room in the frame to pull as many cards as we need to, since we're pulling 6 of these big bad boys. Okay? The very first card we're going to be pulling today is going to be, what is your unique magic? Bada bing, bada boom. The next is, when does your magic manifest? It's one of these in here. I think it's this one. I feel like there's 2. The one underneath. The next is, when does your magic get suppressed? Look at here. And when does it flourish? Okay, 2 more. We'll get them nice and organized in the frame. The next question will be, what weakens your magic? See it, it's this one. And the last card is going to be, who are you when your magic is fully integrated, fully online, you're aware of it, and you know how to work with it? Who are you then? There you go. 6 cards. Let's pull them all into the frame as nicely as we can. The moment before flipping the cards is my favorite part of reading cards. What could it all be? What could it be, guys? Okay. What is your unique magic? The self. Your magic is when you're being you. This is one of the, this Oracle deck by Kim Kranz has 4 different types of cards in this deck. There's the selves, the tools, the places, the initiations. This is one of the selves, and it's the self, the self. But it is one of the last cards towards the end of the selves. So it's pretty high up there. And you might think like, oh, my magic's being in my ego. I wouldn't say it's that. Let's see. The self card is also called the soul, the witness, and the watcher, right? So when it's in light, it's witnessing, accepting new aspects of the self. When it's dark, it's disjointed, fatigued, diffuse energy, and purpose. Let's see. In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we swirl, yet the self is a graceful culinary dancer, watching, waiting, observing as a spectrum of ingredients become the flavor of our life. So the way I would perceive this, especially because there's like so much rainbow, it's that you have your magic is in being so secure in yourself that you are capable of and don't have issues really taking on new identities. It seems like you're really good at like moving through cycles and seasons. You might be somebody who doesn't feel like super defined or fixed in your identity, that like you recreate yourself all the time and you're totally fine with it. Like anything where the vibe just feels like you're being led energetically into something new, you're shifting with the subtleties of the tides of vibes around you. You're a major viber. And you see there's like rainbows, there's all these different colors, there's, everything's going on here. And there's a pearl at the center, right? Somebody who has a pearl for a heart. It's giving jack of all trades. It's giving like nobody actually could tell your astrological sign because you're all of them. You're one of those people that maybe wanted to have every career when you were younger. You're just like, you're an enigma. You don't need to overly identify with one thing. And that's quite shamanistic as well, to not overly identify with a label and to be okay with things changing because nothing stays the same. You go with the flow. You're in the divine flow. That is a gift. That is a gift. You must have had such a life of very lived experiences. Maybe you've traveled a lot, either externally, like literally traveled, or you've just had it traveled in your life, such that you've expressed yourself in a multitude of different ways. It's almost like you've lived so many different lives in such a short amount of time. Or, I mean, if you're older too, but like relative to your age, the amount of lives you've lived seems like it's been a lot, and you've seen a lot of different seasons of life and explored a lot of different sides of yourself. Now, the only way to fully explore all different sides of yourself is also if you've like really been through it. Like you must have experienced a lot of different like light and dark aspects of being alive. And like that might have just been why you came here. It's like you could tolerate it, like your soul could tolerate having like life turned upside down and inside out and backwards and forwards. And like you just sort of like water off a duck's back. You're like, oh well, yeah, that was that, and well, we just keep it moving. That's the magic. But when does this self magic really manifest? In the tear, that would make sense. So the tear is like you're crying. So this would indicate to me that you're somebody who knows how to digest life's situations, because certainly plenty of what you've been through has been very tear-jerking, tear-worthy, and you've been able to express how you feel about something and get in touch with it and like turn it into something else. Okay, the tear is a tool in the deck. So we'll have to see what is saying here in the book. There it is. It's the second card. Okay. The tear, the melody, melancholy, and flowing through when it's in dark, drowning drama and murkiness, also known as the mourning, the release, and the rain. Yeah, so this gift really manifests after you've released and you've like processed the situations that you've been through. Like you're really good at not holding things in. You're not stagnant. And you don't lie to yourself. Like things just are what they are, and you seem to bear witness to it and just like let your body feel what it needs to feel. Amazing. But when does this magic get suppressed? The bridge. Okay, when you haven't bridged properly. So the shadow side of the bridge would just be somebody who keeps a little bit too much to themselves, doesn't network, doesn't necessarily reach vertically. So there could be, like, you might be good at reinventing yourself, but it might be too horizontally moving. Like it might be something where like other people see it and but like maybe for you, you have a difficult time with either bridging with spirit or bridging that connection with spirit to other people. It's almost like it doesn't get to manifest fully, like this self magic, like the reinventing magic doesn't get to doesn't come out if your bridges between different facets of yourself aren't made out of love. So anytime that there's a forced bridge or an unbuilt bridge where there should be one, that's where there's a holdup and a stagnancy in this. Right now, the bridge, I've often pulled this as a shadow card for myself, and that was like before I was more deep into shamanic journeying and just getting in more touch with archetypical realms, and I wasn't doing the work that I'm now doing. This was in my shadow. And obviously, when that's in your shadow, like how can you express yourself fully if you don't bridge properly, right? What makes your gift flourish? The mystic. Are surprised? I just said this. Being able to express the self in shapeshift is very shamanistic. It's very mystical. So it flourishes when you get to be in this position of mystical energy, when you're seen as someone who can courier and way show that energy. It's almost like you were given a lot of lived experiences that rocked your shit so that you would be able to like heal it and then explain to other people how to like perceive and work through that same energy. Or like literally way showing because you have had a lot of ways you've gone and now you're showing other people the same ways, right? What weakens this energy? The crone. Okay, this would be in the shadow side because the crone is a very positive, very powerful card. But if it's in its shadow, this is a rejection of the aged self. This is the last between the maiden. Sometimes it's considered 3 cycles, sometimes 4. It could be the maiden, the mother, then the crone, or the maiden, then the warrior, then the mother, then the crone. But the crone is like the last and full iteration of the life cycle of the divine feminine / like woman. And the crone is like the one who is very wise, but they're also not necessarily like physically in their prime anymore. They're exchanging physical beauty for chaotic inner wisdom. Like, and not chaotic in the sense that it's messed up, but like chaos in the sense that it's potent and it's a pattern that many people don't understand. Like, what is chaos to other people, it makes sense to you. But to suppress the crone is to suppress a very natural cycle of your life. It almost feels like to not accept that this is a self that you will and or already at sometimes need to take on, maybe because it's not super pretty, maybe like I'm sure when you've been through what you've been through and like you take pride in being able to bounce back and still seem lively and still seem beautiful, like there are some facets of the crone that just feel kind of unsavory. Like it's not the cutest card. It's giving like witch that lives in the hut. It's like the Baba Yaga story. Maybe not the kindest woman. She's kind of on the fringe. And it's what young women kind of fear when they haven't understood the potent power of it. There's a reason why crones are suppressed in our society, because if they were front and center as like a part of our matriarchal new societal structure, like if they were at the center of that, you know, sharing what they know, we would see a lot less women ending up in situations that harm them, because the crone would be listened to, revered, and you would take her advice. She knows what she's talking about. But to reject this part is maybe just like a self that you don't really hope to take on, or you don't want to take it on now because maybe you're not that old yet. Or also being around women who are older and they also have not embraced the crone. Many women don't. These are the women that have seriously deranged bones to pick with younger women. I'm sure you've come across it. And like for me, I always use it as a reminder that like I never want to become the old woman that wants to kick up dust around like a younger woman, because like that doesn't do much for either person. But much of society, because we live in the empiric structures that how do I word this? Because I don't know if I can get flagged on YouTube. The empiric structures, that are falling based on the files that are being released are showing us that there is a specific pattern to prioritizing, you know, the male gaze and like young women. And by young, I mean too young. And like that is what gets pushed in the zeitgeist. It gets pushed in modeling agencies, like able-bodied, super, super young, like underage looking girls that like we don't see much of the opposite, like women who have grown wild and old and things like that, because it's not beneficial to those structures. So it is hard not to suppress it. So you are weakened in your magic when you choose to still reject this part of yourself. So maybe ask yourself, like, what are you afraid of if you embrace the crone? What do you envision? Like, what would life be like if you made it to the age that where crone starts? Which crone starts, like, I don't know. Young crone is probably in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I don't know. Relative. What are you afraid of? And instead, let's take those parts of you that you fear. I want you to sit with them and try to, like, imagine you're giving them a really big hug. I want you to, like, loosen the tension of that fear through radical self-acceptance. Try your hardest to like visualize that for yourself, because for many crones that embrace their crone, they have absolutely no problem being that age, and I really hope that I don't have a problem with it either when I get older. So not that I'm super duper young, but I'm not super duper old yet either, I guess. So okay, so that's what weakens your energy, is a rejection of a crone archetype inside of you. Then who are you when your magic is fully with you? The destroyer, girl, that is, you are the one that brings, you destroy old constructs, right? Like and there's like a wolf in the background. You're in your animalistic primordial, bringing what is due to where it is due. And it doesn't matter what that looks like. You enter a room and old constructs that shouldn't be there burst. That's kind of what happens. A mystical, powerful person is going to have that effect on the rooms that they walk into. Group 1, they were the shadow when they were fully in their magic. And like that might sound scary, but it's not about that. It's about bringing in like a new world order. You know, like it's about, I mean, that might sound a little bit too woo-woo, but you know, destroying things not for the sake of indiscriminately destroying to destroy. It's that which needs to be destroyed so that something better can rise. That is who you are when your magic is fully with you. And that makes sense because you've recreated yourself so many times. You've been okay with casting out and throwing away old selves, right? Or just trying on something new when the shoe fits. You know what I mean? When you grow into it. So the destructive force, so long as it's channeled appropriately, you know, allocated where it should be, then you are an unstoppable force of nature. Lots of really beautiful cards here. Oh, to see the life you've lived, huh? The stories you probably have. You know, sometimes we share them, and some stories we just meant to keep to ourselves. All right, group 2, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. Welcome, group 3. We're going to put our card to the side just because we don't have a ton of room in the frame. I'm going to pull 6 of these cards today to fully understand the magical being that you are becoming. This is what your unique magic is right off the bat. When does it manifest? That's how it manifests. When does it get suppressed? Felt it behind me. Okay. Yep. Okay. What makes it flourish? Okay. What weakens it? Hello, Butterfingers. Why am I feeling like a Butterfingers? Okay. Lastly, I'm going to just pull this one out here. Who are you when your magic is with you? Always so exciting right before we flip them over. What could they be? What energy are you picking up on? My fingers are feeling very slippery this time. I don't know if that means anything. Usually they do. The subtleties are the big things with these kind of readings. All right, let's see. Your unique magic is, hello, fingers work, the vessel. One who is receptive to external energies. We're going to read more about it, okay? Let's flip them over. When does it manifest? In the apocalypse. Of course. When else would it manifest? When does it get suppressed? Eros. Okay, lots of erotic energy here. In the shadow of eroticism. What makes it flourish? The gem. Being under pressure. What weakens it? The starborn. That's a self. And who are you when your magic is fully with you? You're the ocean. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so your magic is somehow nested in your receptivity in what you receive. We'll get more into it. It manifests in this apocalypsis energy, right? And think about an apocalypse, like the end of times. No big deal, guys. No big deal. Let's see if there are other words here for apocalypses here, because you have initiations though too. That's pretty crazy. We got a couple of initiations. Removing the veil of deception. It manifests when you don't self-deceive. When the unknown becomes known and guides the way. When there is no nihilism, fatalism, or hopelessness is when you are a good vessel. Eros is another initiatory energy, and it gets suppressed when there is madness, projection, and obsession at the function. Eros represents love as desire, eroticism, and sensuality. It's the root of desire itself. So when your desire is suppressed, and this would also be like some type of rejection of your sexuality, for example, is suppressed, then you are not receptive and you are self-deceiving. Okay, now the vessel is going to be a tool, I believe. That your magic is within a tool, unless I'm wrong. I was just double checking the little book here. The vessel, yep, it is a tool. Just pull it in the frame here. 203, guys, 203. It's one of the last ones. Okay, the body, the container, and the cup. So your magic is in your body. Being strong and graceful, being held together. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It's everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire, our bodies hold organs, our homes hold families. Through the simple act of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect the eggs, savings accounts protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it's time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, or full? Perhaps there's no vessel at all, and the contents spill in every direction. It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. But if this is your magic, it means you're good at that. You have great discernment around the vessels and containers in your life. And also, you being the container, you having good discernment over what you contain for yourself and others. It also seems that there might be something here with sex magic, to be honest, because if Eros, when it's suppressed, when you suppress your sexual energy, it suppresses your magic. It tells me that the alchemy of your sexual energy, when like manifesting and stuff, also can get suppressed. So, might want to sit and meditate on what that means to you. We're going to continue on. But what makes it flourish is the gem. So the gem is, ironically enough, contained under immense pressure inside of caves and mountains and, in the dirt with the worms and, the most beautiful crystals of the earth are born out of discomfort and tight quarters, and that you have to really dig deep to find them. But when you are deep digging, when you are excavating to find your gems deep inside of you, like that's what makes your gift flourish. If we think about this sexually, what do we have to dig for? It's giving like the major gem when we're trying to reach the gem. If that makes sense. I don't know how much I have to censor myself on the internet, okay? But you know what I'm talking about. What does this remind you of when it comes to that energy? What are we seeing there that's also there? Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, then the starborn is what weakens it, is rejecting your fate. This is about, like, if you see this in a shadow, or if this is something weakening your magic right now, this indicates that there is a fate or destiny energy around your magic that you are not embracing. It's like you have some kind of knowledge that you were sort of like literally born this way. You were born this way. And you sort of know in your bones that life has a trajectory and you're along for the ride, but it's sort of like a rejection of that. When you kind of reject the natural gift of your life and what that all entails and what is supposed to play out. And sometimes people get it in their heads, and I've been like this too when I was younger, that like certain things in life that come as gifts, you kind of just take it for granted. Like if it feels too easy, if it feels too natural, that must not be what you're meant to pursue, because shouldn't life be difficult? Shouldn't you have to like strive really hard and force and prove yourself? It's kind of like that. So when you are in that mindset, it weakens your discernment around your gift of being a vessel. Now, a vessel can also be a channel. It can be, think about what is it about what you are able to contain and hold inside of you? What is inside of it? Because it could be a lot of different things. Now, the ocean is who you are when your magic is with you, indicates that, I mean, think about it, like the earth is a vessel for the ocean. That's a pretty penultimate vessel. That like you contain all of the water in the world, all of the emotional and spiritual depths in the world. And I would say also sexual, because I mean, that's big energy that's coming up here too. Sexual energy is definitely a part of water. So I guess, who do you think you are when your magic is with you? What does it mean to have the vessel magic be effortless to you? What does it mean to feel like the ocean when that's the case? The ocean is, I mean, intimidating, deep. It hosts a plethora of creatures, both known and unknown, unbeknownst to us. Think about, maybe there's gems forming under the ocean floor. Maybe that's also part of it. When you don't self-deceive. So in what ways maybe are you self-deceiving? I don't think you are, though. When it manifests when you lift the veils of deception. So I mean, you have to ask yourself, in what ways might you be self-deceiving? Really beautiful cards here. An interesting combination. I feel a fire in my belly. How do you feel about these? Where do you think you need to channel this energy when you're aware of it? You have to leave a comment down below and let us know. All right, this is all I have for group 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire. You can find me here on YouTube at Path of Spirals Tarot. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube, Path of Spirals and Path of Spirals Tarot. And my Gmail for business inquiries is pathofspiralstarot@gmail.com. If you'd like to connect with me, you can connect with me there. Leave a comment down below if you resonated with the magical message of today. And we will see you in the next one. Please subscribe. I got 5 videos a week. Share a message with a friend if there was something you thought a friend should listen to. And we will see you in the next video on the Kairos timeline. Bye-bye.